My opponent is suggesting that we do more of what we've seen is not working. And that's more programs, more government spending programs. That's only going to make inflation worse.
What's happening is that politicians like Senator Edwards want to force the government into the most private, sometimes the most heartbreaking decisions of people's lives.
The only debate between the candidates running to represent North Carolina's 11th congressional district happened just hours ago in our News 13 studio.
It's a seat that has been held by Republicans since 2013, but the Democrats are hoping to flip that trend in November.
Tonight, News 13's Taylor Thompson focuses on the candidates' positions on two topics: abortion and inflation.
Political analysts believe that following this debate, voters have a clear idea on who these candidates are and what they stand for when it comes to issues such as inflation and abortion.
For Democrats this year, it is about Donald Trump and it is about abortion. For Republicans, it is about Joe Biden and it is about inflation.
Republican candidate State Senator Chuck Edwards says the economy is the #1 issue on everyone's mind in Western North Carolina.
Biden has wrecked the strong economy that he inherited through overspending and by limiting our oil resources.
Democratic candidate Jasmine Beach-Ferrara says her first priority will be to use government programs to bring relief to working families.
The reality is that working families need immediate and ongoing relief as we navigate a global economy that is feeling the effects of Russia's unconscionable war in Ukraine, of a volatile global oil market.
Those programs include reviving the Child Tax Credit, Inflation Reduction Act, and the American Rescue Plan.
My opponent is suggesting that we do more of what we've seen is not working. And that's more programs, more government spending programs. That's only going to make inflation worse.
Senator Edwards is more than happy to support government spending when it benefits him. Under the Trump administration, he took corporate tax cuts that benefited the wealthiest in our country.
Abortion, also a crucial topic of the debate and the November election.
What's happening is that politicians like Senator Edwards want to force the government into the most private, sometimes the most heartbreaking decisions of people's lives.
My opponent refuses to recognize the science when there is a pregnancy, that there is a living, breathing human being with brain activity, perhaps a heartbeat, that is at risk.
Political analyst Chris Cooper says it's a district that is very difficult for Democratic candidates to win.
If Jasmine Beach-Ferrara were able to win this, it would be a national headline. She would be running counter to the narrative, counter to what we expect to see demographically.
This is the first and only time Beach-Ferrara and Edwards will debate prior to the November 8th election.
Continuing a legacy, an Asheville man is honoring his grandfather by carrying on a tradition created 109 years ago by E.W. Pearson. News 13's Samir Nafsi has more on the history of the Burton St Community Festival.
Since 1913, folks have been coming out here to the Burton St Community Center for a day of fun, also to remember the historical value of the man who started the event more than 100 years ago.
This is my first time here, and this is my first time learning about this.
Folks from all over the mountains coming together thanks to this man, Edward W. Pearson.
I'm very proud of him, yes. I'm trying to keep his legacy alive.
80-year-old Clifford Cotton tells News 13 he's paying homage to his late grandfather by revitalizing the festival pioneered by Pearson.
It's very interesting, it's very enlightening to see so many people involved, in this community as it was then.
Pearson paved the way for many African Americans here in the mountains. Some of his accolades include being elected the first president and general branch of the NAACP here in North Carolina, organizing the Black Business League, and the Universal Negro Improvement Association, just to name a few.
I have a deep obligation to continue. I want to keep his legacy alive and let the young people know how rough it was then, but how easy it is today.
Cotton says his grandfather's ultimate goal to help the historically black neighborhood of Burton St become self-sufficient and united.
Very important, very important. Learn your history and everything, your roots and what was contributed to our society.
And I'm enjoying the music, just the vibes and the culture of it all. I love it.
From pictures to memories, Pearson's legacy continues to live on in the Burton St community. And this is the first time the event has been held since the pandemic. Organizers tell me you can expect this event back next year.
And ahead of this week's below freezing temperatures, the Asheville Buncombe Homeless Coalition has declared a code purple. News 13's Taylor Thompson has more on the plans to activate cold weather shelters.
Many shelters here in Asheville are gearing up for an increase of people over the next few days as the first code purple of the season has been called. The Homeless Coalition has been keeping an eye on the weather forecast as they open more shelters if the temperature goes below 32 degrees.
We're expecting freezing temperatures over the next 2 or 3 nights. We are opening 3 code purple facilities.
All facilities will be open by 4 p.m. tomorrow.
We do not require IDs or background checks. We really want to welcome people as they are.
Leaders say they began planning in June to ensure they would be prepared.
Anybody that touches the homeless community, we had a conversation with.
They're ready with more beds and resources as there's been an increase in the homeless population.
We've had a good working relationship with the city and county and other providers, and so we have increased our capacity from 60 to 130 beds.
They're asking the public to do their part if they can by donating to shelters and keeping extra winter gear in their car to give out if needed.
This costs about $25 per night on average, and if they'd like to support safe havens for homeless folks, they can make a contribution.
We can only do what we can do, but even those tiny little bits of compassion add up. So if you put 1 billion of them together, we've got an initiative.
For more details on the shelters that will be open this week, you can head to our website at WLOS.com. The code purple is set to last until Wednesday, but leaders say it could be extended if the temperature drop continues.